Hi everyone, it's Kelly here. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time. Welcome back if you've been before. Lovely to have you either way. On this channel we talk books, and today I am preparing once again for a trip to the snow. So about this time last year I put out a video which was a TBR of books that I was planning to take on a trip to the snow. I am going again this year and I am preparing the books that I'm going to take. So the premise of this is that these are like thematically cold weather books, and so I have put together a pile. This is all just from owned books that I already have, of books to show you. Now you would think that I would just have the same books that I had last year because there's no way that I read them all. And I do have a stack that is from last year. But I have an even bigger stack of other books that have come in the last year or so, I guess. And I'm going to share those with you now. But before we get into the cold weather books, I'm going to show you the books that I've already decided I am taking with me. The first one is this one, Stolen by Ann-Helén Laestadius. I actually have already started this book. I started it a while back and I'm up to chapter 19, so I'm a bit of a way in, about 75 pages in. And this is a book I was reading for my Around the World reading book club challenge that I've been working on, chipping away at for a couple of years. This one, I started listening to it on audiobook and I just really was not getting along with the audiobook at all. So I kind of soft DNF'd it. But it wasn't that the story was bothering me, it was the narrator I wasn't getting along with. So I'm going to read it in paperback and hopefully that will be better. So I'm definitely taking that one with me. Another one I'm taking with me is the second book in the Brother Cadfael series, the second chronicle of Brother Cadfael, called One Corpse Too Many, A Medieval Whodunit. And I'm looking forward to reading that one. I very much enjoyed my first go when reading the first book. And so I'm going to bring this because it feels, even though it's not necessarily a cold weather vibe, it just feels like holiday vibe to me to be reading what is essentially like a cozy murder mystery. Another book I'm taking with me is this one called A Kindness Cup by Thea Astley, and that is because I am going to be buddy reading it, and we have decided we're going to buddy read in September. So I don't know if I will start it down the coast, but it's quite a thin down the coast. I say down the coast because often my holidays are down the coast. I'm not going down the coast, I'm going to the snow. I might start it at the snow, I might not, but it's a thin book, so I figured I might as well just bring it, just in case I get into the mood to get it started there. And the other one that I think I'm going to bring down as well is Witch Hat Atelier Volume 2. This is a manga series that I started a while back. I really loved the first one, so I got the second one and I'm excited to read that. So those are the ones that I am pretty confident that I'm going to bring with me on the trip. But I'm extra and I'm going to be there for a week, so I'm going to have some time on my hands, because also I'm definitely not attempting skiing this year. I did attempt it last year and it was a disaster, by which I don't mean physically a disaster. It was mentally and emotionally a disaster. So we're not going there. We're just going to hang around at the lodge for the most part and read books, potentially by the fire, potentially in bed, potentially whilst kind of like taking in the vibes of being at the snow. So anyway, the other thing before we get into the books is I wanted to show you my collection of winter bookmarks because I've had them aside especially for this trip. So I have two that I coloured in myself. They come from a website called mindfulmazing.com, and I made these and laminated them, which I can do because I own not one but two laminators. So I've got those two. But I also have this little guy. Can you see him? He's just a little penguin, and he's reading a book under a book tent, which is kind of cute. And it's from Aiko Graven. And then I have this cute one, which is from The Tiny Toucan, of people skating around on an icy lake. This one, I'm not 100% sure who made this one, but it's got very wintry vibes. And the last one is this one from Hooked on a Book AU, which is where I get a lot of my bookmarks. This is kind of the winter vibes one that I have from them. So, without further ado, let's get into the books. Now, in preparation for this video, I watched back my video from last year because I was like, what did I say? I don't want to just deliver you the same video. So I went back, I checked which books I had talked about. I've put those ones into a separate pile. But from my last video, and I'll link that video up in the cards. So if you want to go back and watch that, if you're looking for more books about the snow. And also, I'm just going to very briefly mention the ones that were from that video, and you can go to that one to hear more about them in terms of synopses. But I have read one of them from the list from last year, which is Winter by Ali Smith. I've read that. And I did attempt to read The Art of Breaking Ice by Rachel Mead, and I ended up DNFing it because I was not getting along with the writing style. So, I think that tells you all you need to know about me and TBRs, to be honest, is that I don't really keep to them. So, take this with a grain of salt. All right, let's talk about the books from my previous video that I have not yet gotten to, that I will be considering as I kind of pick out the books that I'm going to take with me on my snow trip. We have a romance called With Love from Cold Worlds, which I am keen to read, but I'm not sure if it is going to be the vibe, because it is based on a like touristy winter wonderland themed kind of thing that's in Florida. So I don't know if this is actually going to be cold vibes. We shall see. Maybe it will, because they'll be there for a lot of the time, I guess. So that's an option. A non-fiction, The Library of Ice by Nancy Campbell. Readings from a Cold Climate. I don't have any other non-fiction, so if I'm feeling like I want to take a non-fiction, this could be the right one. The Winter Dress by Lauren Chater. I've read another book of Lauren Chater's that I really enjoyed. I think it's called The Lace Weaver, maybe. And I very much enjoyed that book, so I feel pretty confident that I will also enjoy this one. There is no list of all of her books, but I feel confident I'll enjoy this one as well. I believe it's a historical fiction. Maybe. Is it? It's a person in the modern day that's looking back at a historical person. So that's that one. We've got a couple of classics. I've got this one called The Ice Palace by Tarjei Vesaas, which has a very beautiful cover, and I am keen to get to. It's also quite slim, so it could be a good option, not taking up a lot of room in my bag. I also have If on a Winter's Night a Traveller by Italo Calvino, which is another classic that I'm excited about. This one has a wintry sounding name, Permafrost by S.J. Norman. It's short stories, but I don't actually know that they're all going to be cold vibes short stories, so we shall see. And Snow by Orhan Pamuk, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2006. I don't know if it was with this book or another, but yeah, this one, I think, when I watched back my video from last year, is quite heavy topic, so I don't know that this will be the right vibe for going down to the snow. And the last one that I mentioned in my last video is this one, In the Midst of Winter by Isabel Allende. Again, not sure if this is going to be the right vibe for the holiday. Now, there were a couple of other books that I mentioned. Can't find them. They're middle grade books that I mentioned in the last one. So those are the ones from the previous video. We won't dwell too much there, but I will be considering those. Whoop. Let me just put that down. So those are the ones from the previous video. And we're not going to dwell on those for too long here because I've already spoken about them. You can watch the previous video if you want more on any of those. Let's look now at the quite substantial stack of snowy vibes, cold weather vibes books that I have seemed to have acquired, or at least rediscovered from my collection since last year. So a few weeks ago, I'm pretty sure, months ago maybe, I hauled this book, Snowdrift and Other Stories by Georgette. Georgette, I've read 2 of her books, I think, now, and very much enjoyed them. So this is a very strong contender to bring down. This is a short story collection, which also includes 3 of her earliest short stories published together in book form for the very first time. So let's have a look and see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, including 3 that are new stories, so I guess not previously published, so that's exciting. Yeah, so this is definitely a contender for bringing down, because Georgette writes sort of like romances for the most part, but also mystery novels, and they're often in, she's got a lot of like Regency ones, and a few kind of set in the like early 20th century-ish as well. So like it could be, there could be historical fiction kind of vibes here, or there could be mystery vibes, and it's probably a good, given that they're short stories as well, like maybe a good vibe for being on a holiday, if you know what I mean. The next one, oh, I should say as well, I've somewhat grouped them by the word on the cover that is kind of cold weathery. So obviously these are the snow books, which is what I did in my last video. It's a bit more hectic and eclectic this time around, but we did have a little bit of a theme for the first couple. So this one is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Waubgeshig Rice, and this one, let me tell you about it. With winter looming, a small northern Anishinaabe community goes dark. Cut off from power and communication with no foreseeable resolution, only very few residents truly realize the community's shortfalls. When unexpected visitors arrive, escaping the crumbling society to the south, tensions rise and allegiances are divided. The harsh winter months pass slowly and the food supply dwindles as the death toll and panic rise. But the greatest threat to the survival of the reserve might come from within the community itself. So it sounds like it might be a, like, you know, dystopian future kind of vibe here. So I'll take that into consideration. I don't know if that's going to be the right vibe for this trip, but could be a good option. The next section is books that use the word winter in the title. The first one is, I believe, a middle grade, The Way Past Winter, by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. Now, I have read a book by this author, but it was some of her adult fiction, the name of which escapes me at the moment. The Mercies, I think it was called. And so, and because I enjoyed that book, I thought I probably will also enjoy her middle grade fiction. So let's find out about this one. Mila wakes to find her brother Oscar has gone. A dark clue suggests he's followed a stranger who visited them in the night. Then she learns that all the boys in the village have vanished, except one, the boy mage called Rune. Together, Mila and Rune set out to find them in an extraordinary journey across mountains to the furthest corner of the frozen north. So that could be a good vibe. Good vibe. Middle grade. Not too, like, heavy in terms of the writing, maybe. Could be a good option. Another good option would be this one, This Winter by Alice Oseman, who is the author of the Heartstopper graphic novels, of which I've read 4 out of 5. Actually, I could take that. This one is a novella of in the Heartstopper universe, so let's find out a little bit about this one. This winter... Oh, sorry. I hate Christmas, Tori says. No, you don't, I say. I hate this one. Everyone hates this one. This winter has been a tough one for Tori, Charlie, and Oliver Spring. So this is... Charlie is one of the 2 main characters in Heartstopper. And it's the person from whose perspective we kind of see things at the very beginning. They are all trying to get through Christmas Day with minimum drama. For Oliver, that means Mario Kart with his brother and sister, but for Tori and Charlie, it means putting the past few months behind them. Will this Christmas drive the Spring family apart or start to put them back together? That might not be the right vibe, actually, because it's Christmassy, so maybe this is more of a Christmas book rather than a winter book. Because, as you know, in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm in Australia, our winter is in the middle of the year, not at Christmas time. So maybe that might not be the right vibe. Another book that is on my TBR is The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. This is the 3rd book in the Bear and the Nightingale series. I've read the first 2. I'm ready to read book 3. Although I probably need to do because it's been some time since I read books 1 and 2, I might need to do a quick recap of what happened in those books so that I don't get lost. Because I do remember when I read the 2nd book in the series, I was having these like, who is that? Like, you know, those moments as I was going through, and it just kind of took me a little while to get back into the universe a little bit and be like, who is that person? What are they talking about? What are they referring to here? Yeah, I'm excited. I won't read the synopsis of this one because it's the 3rd book in a series, but I am excited for this book because I very much enjoyed books 1 and 2 in the series. Also, series September, it's a thing, and there's a few books here that I've got already that are part of a series that I'm definitely taking down. Okay, then we get into the kind of like eclectic bit because I've got 1 cold, 1 frozen, 1 Antarctica, and then I've got a couple of books that don't have any wintry words in the title, but definitely from the front covers and what I know of them are wintry vibes. So this is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. This is a classic. And the synopsis is, when sensible, sophisticated Flora Post is orphaned at 19, she decides her only choice is to descend upon relatives in deepest Sussex. At the aptly named Cold Comfort Farm, she meets the doomed Starcadders, an eccentric group of relatives suffering from a wide variety of ailments. But Flora loves nothing better than to organise other people. Armed with common sense and a strong will, she resolves to take each of the family in hand. A hilarious and merciless parody of rural melodramas, Cold Comfort Farm is one of the best-loved comic novels of all time. Okay, so probably not cold weathery, but could be a good vibe anyway. Because it's a humorous novel. So that could be interesting. I also have The Frozen River. Why does that feel like something is inside it? It's just very thick glue. So this is The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. Now, I read her book Codename Helene, and was a 5-star read for me. I think she's a great writer, so I am definitely keen to read more from this author. So I picked this one up some time ago now, in the last year, I would imagine. But let's have a look at what it's about. A gripping historical mystery based on the life and diary of renowned midwife Martha Ballard. It's coming back to me now. Maine, 1789. When a man is found entombed in the frozen Kennebec River, Martha Ballard is summoned to examine the body and determine cause of death. As the local midwife and healer, Martha is good at keeping secrets. Her diary is a record of every birth, death, and debacle that unfolds in the town of Hallowell. In that diary, she has also documented the details of an alleged rape committed by one of the town's most esteemed gentlemen, the same man who has now been found dead in the ice. While certain townspeople are eager to put both matters to rest, Martha suspects that the two crimes are linked and that there is more to both cases than meets the eye. Over the course of one long, hard winter, whispers and prejudices mount, and Martha's diary lands at the centre of the scandal, threatening to tear both her family and her community apart. The Frozen River is a thrilling, tense, and tender story of an unsung heroine who refused to accept anything less than justice on behalf of those no one else would protect. I'm very excited for this novel. I don't know why I haven't picked it up, to be honest, because it sounds amazing. It is... Well, that's probably why I haven't picked it up. It's 430 pages long. So that could be that could be part of it. And the font is kind of small. But maybe a holiday is a good time to pick this up. We'll see. Then we have Antarctica by Claire Keegan, who is the author of Small Things Like These, which I have read. And also, I've read another one of hers, Foster. And potentially, have I read So Late in the Day, or is that on my... No, that's on my TBR. Anyway, this is a short story collection, I believe, from Claire Keegan, who is a brilliant writer. Let's have a look and see how many short stories there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So again, I guess with short story collections, maybe not all of them are going to be cold, weathery. I mean, I'm assuming the one called Antarctica is, but it maybe not. Maybe it's just a metaphor. So I don't know if this is going to be the right vibe, but it's a short story collection, and the summary says, a secret one-night tryst in the city, a sister's revenge, a Christmas and a New Year's Eve dance, a missing girl. In Antarctica, an astonishing sequence of stories, one of our most gifted writers illuminates the truths of human longing and fallibility. So we'll see. We'll see if that's going to be the right vibe. Okay, so now we have 3 more books, and these are wintry covers / I know them to be wintry content. So the first one is The Wolf Wilder by Catherine Rundell. Theo could not remember a time when she had not known and loved the wolves. It was impossible not to love them. She could howl, her mother used to say, before she could talk. Wolves made sense to her. Wolves, Theo thought, were one of the few things worth dying for. Theodora and her mother live in the snowbound woods of Russia, where their closest neighbours are wolves. Theo's mother is a wolf-wilder, and Theo is a wolf-wilder in training. Like the wolves, Theo has learnt to be wary of humans, even before the soldiers arrive with their guns and threats. Why do I feel like I've read this book? Maybe I have already read this book. Anyway, and when the soldiers do their worst, she goes on the run with just a fugitive boy and her wolves for company to rescue her mother and save her pack. Have I read this book? Because if I've read this book, I don't necessarily want to take this book with me. Bear with me for a moment. Let me just see if I have read it. Well, at least if I've recorded that I've read it. A wolf. have. I have read it, and I gave it 4 stars. What did I say in my review? Oh, no. That's so funny. Okay, I need to, I obviously gave myself a fright. Okay. Alright, my review says, 1 star taken off for the surprise picture of a scary wolf on page 296. You want to see it? You ready for a jump scare? Ah! Otherwise, a solid plot and endearing characters. Okay, I have read this book already, so I won't be taking it. But if you're looking for something wintry, I've clearly given it 4 stars. You've already seen the scary wolf, so you're all good. You're all good. So there you go. We won't be taking that one with us. Let's put that on the other pile. All right, next one. This is The Tolstoy Estate by Stephen Conti. I've had this one for a while, and I picked it up randomly, and it sounded really interesting. Oh, it's an Australian author. How interesting. When was it published? 2020. Okay, so, as you can see, very wintry, cold vibes on the cover. So let's see what it's about. During the doomed German invasion of Russia in World War II, Paul Bauer, a German military doctor, is assigned to establish a field hospital at Yasnaya Polyana, the former grand estate of Count Leo Tolstoy, the author of the classic War and Peace. There he encounters a hostile aristocratic Russian writer, Katerina Trubetskaya, who has been left in charge of the estate, but even as a tentative friendship develops between them, Bauer's arrogant commanding officer, Julius Metz, becomes erratic and unhinged as the war turns against the Germans. Over the course of 6 weeks, in the terrible winter of 1941, everything starts to unravel. So, a historical fiction, World War II, set at Leo Tolstoy's house. Interesting. And the last one is The Vaster Wilds by Lauren Groff. Lauren Groff wrote a book I very much enjoyed called Matrix. I've heard that this one is quite different, and people who have liked Matrix haven't necessarily liked this one. But it is on my TBR, and it is a book I really want to get to. So this could be a good time to do so. And I've picked it up because it is set in the snow, I believe, or at least in part. 1600s. A young girl escapes from a settlement into the night. She chooses to leave behind everything she's ever had, her roof, her home, her country, her language, the only family she has ever known. She carries nothing but her wits, a few possessions, and the spark of God that burns hot within her. In this unknown